Hello everybody, I'm doing a quick update to my gearing guide that I posted yesterday. So I totally forgot this gear was in the game. It is my fault, I apologize. And the gearing guide that I did post had 100% correct information. The only problem was that a lot of players in my comment section were complaining about the prices of the matrices, chromatic seals, all of that good stuff, and I 100% agree. You should not, as a new player, have to farm all of that stuff to get into some raids, right? So I'm going to show you a little workaround until you do get that Azeroth crystal gear. You honestly don't even need to craft that Azeroth crystal gear. It is the gearing path that I went through because I think that is just simply the best gear. It has two extra, it's a little bit more min-max, okay? It has 2 extra stats compared to the gear that I'm going to show you now. So anyways, head over to your faction vendor. We're going to open up our faction vendor and we're going to scroll all the way down until we come across the faction gear. So if you recall from my last video, Azeroth crystal gear has health, refreshing, and enchanted ward. These are the best 3 perks for PvE. Health is going to allow you to survive the bursts from the mobs. Enchanted ward is going to reduce the damage from all of the light and heavy attacks from the mobs. And refreshing is going to be used so you can cast all of your abilities even faster. That means it's a higher DPS increase for your entire group. So head over to your faction vendor and buy the pieces. So it is a little bit of a gold investment, okay? I'm not going to say that it's cheap. 4.5k, 5.5k, 3.5k. A lot of these items do have a lot of gold attached to them. But it is a lot cheaper than going out to buy your Azeroth crystal gear and craft it. It is less time investment. You have the same amount of perks and you get the same result. So like I said, I'm sorry I forgot this was in the game. So if you have not watched my last video, it goes over the optimal weight combinations. So head over here to the faction vendor, pick up all of the correct and necessary pieces you need, and then we're going to scroll up to initiate and we're going to scroll down till we find the seals. So the seals is what's going to allow us to change the gear from constitution on our faction armor to whatever stat that we want. So for example, if you want strength, you can put on the soldier, ranger is dex, scholar is intelligence, and sage is focus. So we're going to pick some of these up. I already have some in my inventory. And then depending on what armor weight you are, you're either going to go to the forge, that's going to be for heavy armor, or the outfitting station, which is light and medium. So let me see if I have the piece here. I have a constitution piece that I picked up to show you. So we're going to go here to the outfitting station, type in Marauder, Syndicate, Covenant, whatever you are, until we find the gloves here for my example. So we have the Paladin gloves of the Sentry. We can either change it to strength because I have a strength token, or we can change it to dex because I have a dex token. I'm going to put in strength because I prefer that. We're going to craft it. Voila, we have 675 legendary gear square items with the same amount of perks as the Azeroth crystal gear. So what does this mean now that we have the armor? Well, once again, the armor is 675 gear score. So that means we have to have a higher gear score in other places to compensate. So that means you are going to have to invest a little bit of gold into your artifacts to upgrade it. Okay, the attuned leather pants is going to be upgraded with health at the gypsum kiln. I would highly recommend checking out my other video. Okay, it has a lot of good and necessary information for you to understand. I do not want to repeat it in this video. You know, just for the sake of time, I want to make this as quick as possible. So we're going to upgrade our artifacts to 725. You will also need to upgrade your artifact weapon to 725 as well. So as soon as you grab all of your faction armor, upgrade your artifacts to 725, you should be at about 680 to 695 gear score. That is going to allow you to start doing the mutations level 2. So we're going to open up our mutated expeditions. We're going to go to whatever one you prefer. Glacial Tarn, for example, is very popular. And if we look in the top left here, it says that the recommended gear score is 675 and above. So we're going to come here, do some mutations too. And if you recall in my other video, the Azeroth crystal gear drops from mutation level 2. So instead of spending all of your materials to craft it, you can spam Glacial Tarn for M2 or whatever dungeon you want to have the chance of getting the Azeroth crystal gear. So over time, you can replace this faction armor with your Azeroth crystal gear, which means that you also don't have to spend a lot of time upgrading other things to 725 to kind of compensate for that gear score. You can actually end up running a lower gear score item, such as myself, with better perks. So I have a 666 earring with empowering toast and refreshing toast because I have higher gear score in other slots of my armor. So for example, I have the hoplite hat and I have the hoplite breastplate. I got these from the raid, and before I had these items, I was using the Azeroth crystal gear that I crafted. So I actually wasted 6 chromatic seals and 2 matrices. That is about 35k down the drain, simply because I forgot that we can use faction armor. So get that done, get your faction armor. So as a TLDR, I'm kind of going to go over an example build with all of the information that I put in today's video. So we have a lot of the Covenant pieces here, 675, health, refreshing, enchanted ward, intelligence. This is going to be for like a rapier musket build. This is nothing best in slot once again, right? Just a simple gear set to kind of get into that early dungeons and raid as well. So we have the attuned leather pants. 725 on your attuned leather pants is mandatory. You cannot, get to 700 gear score without it. We also have the Covenant Paladin shoes. We have the Gold Curse amulet, the Red Hot Slag, and the Gold Curse earring. So you can go to the Well of Fortune and Cullis Keys and kind of buy the 250 crates that give you the 700 gear score items. I believe the kind of range is 690 gear score to 710 gear score. I put 705 here. You kind of do need that to hit the 700 gear score mark. But once again, right, like if you do the M2s and you get lucky with an Azoth Crystal piece, you're not going to exactly need this perfect setup of the correct gear score to hit that 700 mark. This is going to allow you to just kind of get into the M2s and kind of start farming it up, right? If you want to go straight up into the raid without doing M2s with your faction armor, you're going to need to keep opening up these crates or go to the trading post to find stuff with higher gear score. So we do have the rapier once again, 725 upgraded, and the musket at the Well of Fortune. This is nothing good for raids or dungeons at all. It is simply just for the gear score boost. That about wraps it up. If you were confused about a certain topic or I didn't go too in depth on a certain portion of today's video, it's because I went over it in my last video. I would highly recommend checking that video out. It does have a lot of good information that was not in this video. I just wanted to include a cheaper way to kind of bump your gear score up. So once again, I apologize for forgetting about this, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Catch you in the next one. Peace, baby.